Hey everyone, Rho here. Today we are discussing the Sons of Russ, the Imperium's original plan to use the Space Wolves and their successors as the jailers of the Eye of Terror. General spoiler warning to begin, as we will be discussing events from across the Warhammer 40k universe, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Well, in rounding out my Space Wolves theme of late, I've really been wanting to discuss the original intent for the Space Wolves successors in the wake of the heresy. So let's begin at the beginning. The heresy has ended, Guilliman has implemented his Codex Astartes, and Rogel Dawn has stood down at the last moment, averting a possible civil war. Now, how this is going to play out in implementing the actual codex and breaking of the legions in any real detail does remain to be seen. However, hopefully in the upcoming Scouring series we will get the real answers. One thing we do know regardless, however, is that it happens. Every legion was to be broken down into chapters. In regards to Russ and his Space Wolves, due to the losses they had incurred throughout the heresy, they were to be broken down only once. One half remaining the Space Wolves with Liam and Russ, and the other half becoming the Wolf Brothers. And here is where things get really interesting, but unfortunately a little mysterious as well, as is so often the case with Imperium history. What we do know is that the Imperium actually had intentions for the Space Wolves and all their future successors to become jailers of the Eye of Terror. And we're not talking a large garrison at the Cadian Gate here, we're talking a complete encirclement of the Eye of Terror, a sector spanning area of control. Now, details of this are preciously few. However, we did get a mention of this during the Battle of the Fang novel by Chris Raitt. Now there, a wolf priest is discussing the purpose of the chapter. How in the beginning the Emperor created all the legions to each fulfill a different purpose. The Space Wolves were created to destroy, to be the threat against treachery. And we know that this was pretty much the case, each Primarch fulfilling a particular role, with yes, some overlapping traits. After that, the Imperium and its chapters, in its state before the Ultima founding, and how it became more about stability than their original roles. Lineages such as Guilliman and Rogel Dawn becoming the main sources of successors, for example, which in itself is a good discussion point for another day. However, then he mentions their own history, and how perhaps it was not originally going to be much different from their fellow chapters. And this is where the Wolf Brothers come in. We learn that they were to be as powerful and numerous as the Space Wolves themselves, and they had a homeworld akin to the nature of Fenris, which was named Kyriol, which I may be pronouncing incorrectly. But as we know, they essentially had half of everything the Space Wolves Legion had at the time, so they were a pretty mighty chapter given the Wolves' increased size. And then we get the references to the future intentions, and here we learn that they were to be just the first of a whole line of Space Wolf successors, and these were going to be collectively known as the Sons of Russ. Which, rather than just a collective term, such as the Sons of Sanguinius for example, the Sons of Russ were named for a very specific purpose. And according to the Wolf Priest, this was to carve out an empire akin to that of Guilliman and Ultramar, which would completely encircle the Eye of Terror, creating a powerful bastion of defense against any of the traitor legions, permanently imprisoning them within the Eye of Terror. Now, we don't know if this plan was formulated by Guilliman himself or perhaps the High Lords of Terror after. However, considering the plan combines the Wolf brothers, I'd expect it to have been created very early on within the Scouring. So hopefully we'll see Guilliman or Russ involved within its creation. I'd particularly love to see Russ being involved. Now, even though this is coming just from a Wolf Priest, this Empire of the Sons of Russ actually does make a lot of sense to me, especially when we consider how the territory of Fenris is very much the sovereign domain of the Wolf King still to this day, something which even Guilliman himself respected as the Lord Commander of the Imperium. It really makes me think that that could have been very much intended to have become a larger realm akin to Ultramar, something that I can very easily see of being discussed between Russ and Guilliman come the time that Russ agrees to become a chapter. Man, how different the future of the Imperium could have been. How different Abaddon's Black Crusades could have been, if indeed they came at all. However, as we know, unfortunately this Empire of the Sons of Russ was never to transpire, as the Wolf Brothers chapter disappeared under mysterious circumstances, believed to have been disbanded thanks to the instability of Russ's Canis Helix, making it nigh on impossible to found other chapters. Though personally I do think we'll see some development of this storyline when we reach this point during the Scouring series. Honestly, on the whole, I'm really expecting it to expand on all of these fabled mysterious storylines of the past. Now, some Space Wolves believe that the Wolf Brothers may exist somewhere out there still to this day, and there has been a few sightings of believed Wolf Brothers Marines over the years within the lore. Magnus the Red used a group of mutated Wolf Brothers against the Space Wolves chapter themselves. One was sighted during a Uriel Ventress adventure upon the homeworld of the Iron Warriors no less, and a squad was believed to have been fighting beneath the banner of the Red Corsairs. So while their true fate as a whole may yet to have been determined, there is every possibility that there are some out there within the galaxy still, many quite possibly becoming embittered enough to side against the Imperium, which again is another mystery to be unravelled another day. Now, while the Sons of Russ project was abandoned many centuries ago, there is the promise now, of course, of actual Space Wolf successors striding the stars. Though admittedly it's beginning to appear the curse of the Canis Helix hasn't quite been healed, like Belisarius Cawl himself originally believed, which again appears very similar to the flaws of Sanguinius. So could we maybe see a resurrection of the original intention for the Sons of Russ? Well, the Eye of Terror, while the hub of chaos, is far from the only problem now. The Great Rift, of course, is spanning the entire length of the Imperium, making any possible entrapment of chaos almost a virtual impossibility. However, rather than encircling the entire Eye of Terror and Cicatrix Maledictum, could I maybe see an adaptation of the original plan? Well, yes, I could. The Sons of Russ may be being stationed against the length of the Great Rift, for example, only just on one side, manning the Imperium Sanctus's borders, for example. While the creation of their empire would most likely not be possible as originally intended, having all the chapters of the Sons of Russ against this border as bastions of defense against the overwhelming tides of chaos, well, this would undoubtedly shore up the Imperium's defenses. If there was not enough chapters created, then you could maybe focus more on the western side, focusing on the still embattled sectors of Cadia and the Nachmund Gauntlet for example, securing two vitally important war zones. Or of course you could simply turn your mind to the darkness of Imperium Nihilus, though this would obviously remove Fenris from the equation, and as such I see that one as even less likely. The world of Fenris and the Space Wolves chapter themselves are very much a moral compass for the entire lineage of Russ. So however those plans were to play out, if indeed they were resurrected, I for one definitely think it would have to involve Fenris. One thing is for sure however, time will truly tell whether the Sons of Russ are truly here to stay, or if the curse of the Wolf Brothers is still yet to truly play out. But as always guys, what do you think? Why do you think this original plan for the Sons of Russ was originally created? Did it come from the mind of Guilliman? Did it involve Russ himself? Or maybe was it just a creation of the High Lords of Terror? And when the Space Wolf successors were disbanded, why didn't they try again with another chapter's bloodline? Why was this plan simply disregarded? And what of the current Imperium? Could you maybe see this plan resurrected in just a different format? As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below, I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.